Hi, everyone. Welcome to our session on Get Started with Application Lifecycle Management and DevOps. Just a quick reminder that Salesforce is a publicly traded company, so please make all your purchasing decisions based off of what is generally available today. So again, thank you all for being here and wanting to develop your Salesforce skill and being part of our community. We all appreciate you being here with us today. My name is Tara Venkatesan, and I'll be joined by my colleagues, Emily Kapner and Brendan Gatens. We'll be breaking the session down into three main topics. We'll start off with what is Application Lifecycle Management, or ALM, followed by some of our Salesforce tools, and using Salesforce in the context of ALM. And as a sneak peek, we'll have a little demo that Brendan will be leading us through on getting started with DevOps Center. So again, my name is Tara Venkatesan, and I'm a product marketing manager here at Salesforce on the Einstein 1 App Dev and Trusted Services team. For the last 3 years, I've been supporting our developer experience portfolio, and I'm based out of Austin, Texas. So IT teams these days are tasked to deliver more and more with fewer and fewer resources. As you look across the business, you'll see things like broken ALM processes, a lack of collaboration, business disruptions that lead to fewer deployments, and a mistrust in new technology such as generative AI. So how do we solve for all of this? Well, that's where ALM, or Application Lifecycle Management, comes into play. ALM is a process that helps you oversee the software development lifecycle. More specifically, ALM is a system of people, processes, and tools that help you develop an app efficiently and securely. Let's say you want to develop a new application and make that process bulletproof. Well, that's exactly what ALM is here for. Now let's talk about DevOps. DevOps is a common industry term. How many of you have heard of DevOps? Exactly, everyone basically. So DevOps is very similar to ALM. It's a process that lets you develop an application easier and faster. But how is DevOps different than ALM? Well, when you think of ALM, you can think of the what. You'll see testing as a phase here. What is testing? How do I implement testing? DevOps then is the how. How do I implement testing? I can use a tool like DevOps Center to set up a pipeline and move my development from process to process until I get into production. So DevOps you can think of as making application lifecycle management easier so everyone on your team is on the same page. Innovation should be at the top of IT teams' minds, and with healthy DevOps, teams can achieve success. You'll see these metrics here. They're called the DORA metrics. They're what a team can use to track performance and productivity. Here at Salesforce, we like to think of ALM and DevOps as a married couple. When you invest in the relationship, you'll see things like fewer bugs in production, increased time to value, increased number of deployments, et cetera, et cetera. Now, governance is a fundamental principle of ALM and DevOps, especially as you scale. People and process make the foundation of governance. You can add technology to the top, forming kind of like a pyramid. But if you take technology away, people and process still stand. But if you take people and process away, everything fails, and technology is utilized inefficiently. The key to governance is people and process. And by adding technology, you can see things such as you can see things like less frustrated employees, better source control hygiene, more DevOps principles, and success. Now, if you look at an IT team, there are a lot of roles that span across the ALM process. Some will be more involved, like developers or change and release managers, and some will be more of an overarching figure, like project manager or a business stakeholder. No matter what, everyone is responsible for making ALM a success. And in the past, these roles have worked more in silos, wanting to get things done separately. Whereas now, with a combination of DevOps, which is developers and operations working together, you'll see how cross-functional teams are much more important today for increased visibility, collaboration, and communication. So we keep this in mind when we're developing tools at Salesforce, and we want to make sure that we develop tools that span across the entire ALM lifecycle. Now I'm going to hand it over to Emily to talk to us about our Salesforce tools.
Thank you, Tara. Good afternoon. I'm Emily, and since 2016, I've been a technical writer producing content for Salesforce DX tooling. I've had the honor of working on lots of the DX development teams, but right now my focus is Sandboxes, Scratch orgs, a wee bit of ISV tooling, and DevOps Center. So Tara, I'm gonna go back one. So Tara talked about why ALM and DevOps are so important and introduced you to the first two pillars, people and processes. I am going to tackle the third pillar and walk you through some of the technologies we provide. First off are sandboxes, a vital part of any ALM journey. Salesforce offers several types of sandboxes depending on where you are in the application lifecycle. If you're in the development phase, developers might use a developer or developer pro sandbox. As you get closer to release, you'll need some data to do your final testing and validation, and that's when partial and full sandboxes come in. So just why are sandboxes so important? First off, they enable you to build with trust. They provide a safe and isolated environment in which to build and test your changes before you release them to production. Sandboxes boost productivity and reduce risk. We know that building and deploying directly to production is risky because you can introduce breaking changes that disrupt you or your customer's business. You got to squash those pesky bugs before they become a costly issue downstream. Sandboxes help you deliver innovative solutions efficiently. Sandboxes are created from your production org. That means they have all the metadata and varying levels of data based on sandbox type. They enable you to develop, test, and release changes, reducing risk, and ensuring that you deliver high-quality features, integration, and apps. And now with Quick Create and Quick Clone, you can create and replicate sandboxes faster than ever. This means your teams can spend more time testing and developing solutions and less time waiting for sandboxes to be created. Salesforce offers two new tools to help you during those crucial testing phases, Scale Test and Data Mask. Scale Test gives you the confidence that your application is ready for peak events, such as Thanksgiving and holiday shopping seasons, healthcare open enrollment, and the most wonderful time of the year, I bet you think I already covered it, but I didn't, what we're dealing with in the US, tax season. So with Scale Test, you can reserve a time to test at higher loads without worrying about pre-production limitations and throttling. Data Mask enables you to test with your customer data without sacrificing security. Data Mask anonymizes PII, such as social security numbers and addresses, and even enables you to remove fields that you don't want exposed to perhaps your development teams or third-party contractors. This means you can release changes faster without worrying about sacrificing the trust and security of your data. We now offer two IDE options. In the beginning, there was Salesforce extensions for VS Code, which provided an optimized experience for developing on the platform in an easy-to-use IDE. But we know that many companies, including Salesforce, do not allow you to install third-party software on your computers. And that's why we launched Code Builder, a new web-based IDE with all the awesomeness of VS Code, but is pre-configured and goes where you go. And our Salesforce extensions help you build faster by doing a lot of cool things like allowing you to visually build and run SQL queries, write and debug Apex code, and that is just the tip of the iceberg. And now within VS Code and Code Builder, we offer 2 new extensions to help you build AI-powered secure apps from anywhere. Einstein for Developers uses Salesforce's trusted generative AI to generate code suggestions based on natural language instructions. Einstein uses Salesforce's own LLM called CodeGen, which is specifically trained on enterprise-level Apex. This means you can build apps at lightning speed using predictive AI code, tests, test cases, and templates. You can weave in industry best practices using AI-suggested improvements, and your teams can onboard almost instantly and up-level your Apex game and expertise. Code Analyzer, now integrated with Einstein for Developers, is a unified tool for source code analysis, which enables you to deliver more performant and secure code. You can scan large amounts of Apex, catch potential bugs, and fix runtime efficiency errors early in the development process. And if you happen to be an ISV or partner who wants to list a managed package on AppExchange, Code Analyzer is your trusted partner for getting you through your security review. And have no fear, with the Einstein Trust Layer, your code, project context, and customer data are all safe. For those of you who prefer the fine-grained control that only a command line interface can provide, there's Salesforce CLM. When we launched Salesforce DX back in 2017, here at TDX, woo, we had a dream of the modern ALM process where the source of truth is your source control repository and not some random org. Back then, we had a handful, maybe 2 handfuls, of CLI commands, and you had to use commands like git to interact with your source control repository. But we have come a long way. And I'm really excited to announce the next evolution in Salesforce CLI. The new unified CLI supports cross-cloud development and all the stages of the application lifecycle, from managing environments and creating projects, to creating scratch orgs to automate processes, to creating LWC components and Apex classes, to deploying changes through your release pipeline and creating second-generation packages. And the new SF CLI is more intuitive, forgiving, and easy to use than ever before. And now that the CLI is open source, you can use our plugin framework to build your own commands or extend the functionality of existing commands. But I get that not everyone gets as jazzed as I do about working on the command line, and that's okay. You don't have to. If you prefer clicks to code, we've got your back. Introducing DevOps Center, which brings modern change and release management to everyone. What's really cool is that DevOps Center leverages the power of Salesforce DX tooling, and that means changes are tracked automatically because every developer uses their own source-tracked sandbox. After you complete your development work in your sandbox, DevOps Center knows exactly which files have changed, and you can pick and choose which files you want to move forward. DevOps Center is integrated with GitHub, and coming soon, we will be launching our Bitbucket beta based on your feedback in our product roadmap. Because everything is in the source control repository, well, I was going to say every DevOps Center project has a corresponding source control repository, and because everything is in the repository, team members have complete transparency into each other's changes. And best of all, we do the heavy lifting. DevOps Center can create the repository and branches for you. You move changes from sandbox to sandbox with clicks. Deployments are based on what's in the repo, which ensures consistency and reliability as you move your changes through the release pipeline. And we take care of both merging those changes to your source control repository and deploying it to the corresponding environment. No need to track those changes in a spreadsheet. No need to build a release artifact. No need to type anything on the command line. No coding required. Declarative builders and pro-code developers can now work together. Developers can work inside or outside of DevOps Center using the tools of their choice, and everything stays in sync. Team members can now work together seamlessly. So I've introduced some of the tools that will help assist you in your ALM journey. Brendan is going to tie it all together and show you where those tools fit into our application lifecycle.
Thank you, Emily. Hi, I'm Brendan Gatens. I live in Columbus, Ohio. I work on DevOps Center, which of course you just saw from Emily, and it's a thing I'm super excited to show you in a few minutes. Earlier, we saw this representation of our application's lifecycle from Tara. Plan, build, test, release, observe, and back again. I'm going to walk through some of the tools and best practices that you can use along the cycle. Starting at the top. So in the planning phase, teams get together to identify and prioritize the features that need to be built. You can use any work tracking tool to help you with this. In DevOps Center, though, we have the concept of a work item, which you use to add your requirements and track your changes as it moves through your development lifecycle. At this stage, you can also start thinking about your environment strategy. We recommend that each developer have their own development environment to keep from stepping on each other's toes and overriding each other's changes. Your build phase may vary depending on the requirements and the tools that your teams are most comfortable with. If you're more comfortable with declarative tooling, you may leverage Flow or App Builder. If the job calls for something more programmatic, you may leverage an IDE like Code Builder or Salesforce or VS Code with the Salesforce extension pack. It's in that IDE where you can utilize Einstein for developers to produce Apex and serve as your AI-paired programmer. And Code Analyzer can also be leveraged here to ensure that your code is performant before promotion to the next stage. So we talked about development environments in the plan and build stage, but one or more testing environments is crucial in ensuring that your changes are working as expected before promoting to production. And if you have an environment that's expecting heavy traffic, a scale test can be run, getting that environment ready for its next peak event. If your organization wants to anonymize your production data, while still giving the development team a way to work in a development environment that closely resembles production, you can use data mask. And finally, using DevOps Center ensures that you are practicing source-driven development. That means the changes that you're making, committing, and promoting in your pipeline live in a version control system. This enables, this would be single source of truth, which enables collaboration and release management. So once we've started promoting our features and testing them in the pipeline, once we're satisfied with those changes, we can seamlessly release that work into production on Hyperforce. And if you're an ISV, next step may be to package and release those changes to AppExchange. Once those changes are in the wild and being utilized by end users, your observability engineer can leverage our suite of privacy and security tools while also monitoring events and user behavior. With this information, they can help with the process of planning what needs to be done next, bringing us back to the start of our iterative cycle. And yeah, as we zoom out, we can see our key tools mapped along the way. For our demo, I'm going to be walking us through DevOps Center to show you how you can power collaboration and enhance your change and release management workflows. So I'm going to step over here, get out of this. Is that zoomed in? Maybe a little bit more for you. OK, so yeah, here we are in DevOps Center, where our work is organized by projects. Each project has an associated production environment and source control repository. In addition to that production environment, we know that a good DevOps workflow will include a number of testing stages. Before we see these stages, though, and test in these environments, we need to create some work. We see here that our team is working on a recruiting app, and we're going to launch this project. So yeah, here we'll see a list of work items associated with the project. As we walked through earlier, work items are a critical part of our planning phase, as we'll use these to document requirements and assign development environments to work within. Each of these work items also has a feature branch associated with it, which is what we'll use to capture and track work as it moves through our development cycle. Looking at the top work item, we can see that we need to create a new hires custom object. This will later help us create automations when a new hire has been made. So I'm going to open up this work item. And yeah, on the Details tab over here, we'll see a list of our requirements. And back on the Changes tab, we'll be shown any changed or newly created files in our development org. Of course, we're going to need to make some changes first. When moving to our build phase, we can either open up our development org by clicking on it here. Alternatively, we could use Code Builder or VS Code, and yeah, depending on what the job calls for, and we can push that work up to the source control branch. But yeah, lucky for us, I am well organized, and I have the object manager already open here in a new tab. So we are going to add that new hire custom object. And we will save. While that's saving, yeah, what we're showing you here is a quick example, but this could be a complex flow, an app and app builder. DevOps Center will keep track of anything that's supported by the metadata API. And with that hopefully complete, we can go back to DevOps Center, and we're going to go down here and pull changes. DevOps Center is using source tracking to connect to the org and get the latest changes, ultimately displaying them here. So they've appeared, and next we're going to need to commit these changes and get them ready for review before promotion to the next stage. So we are going to select the changes, describe the changes that we just made. And commit the changes. So in the background, this is syncing with the feature branch in the version control system. What's cool about the feature branch is that this work can be done outside of the Salesforce org and in an IDE. And as long as it's done on the work items feature branch, DevOps Center will be aware of the changes that you're making. So still pending. I'll give this another second. OK, there we go. So now it's pushing, and we're done. OK, so with those files committed, these changes will need to be reviewed and approved by a team member. I'll quickly do this myself for this example. I'm going to request a review from a team member. This creates a PR in the background and signifies to my team that it's ready. And they can approve it by selecting Ready to Promote. And so with that wrapped up, we are going to navigate to the pipeline. And we can see that our work item here has been added to the approved work items list on our pipeline. Now, we've mentioned the pipeline a few times, but this is our first look at it. The pipeline is what we'll leverage for both testing and releasing. We're going to promote and test our work all along the pipeline, moving from the left all the way to production. In our case here, we have 5 stages, but you can customize this based on your company's needs. And we've set this up so that the volume of data increases as we move from the left to the right. For the integration stage, we have a lightweight developer sandbox so that we can see how changes work together. In UAT, we have a partial copy sandbox. And in staging, we have a full copy sandbox so that you can see how the changes work before they reach production. Before we promote our work item, though, you may notice that there's another work item under ours in the approved work items column. This is from a colleague of ours. And this work item contains a trigger that will connect to our new custom object that'll send an email to new hires. So yeah, one point to make here is that some developers have long been practicing a good ALM. Maybe they've been doing it in programmatic interfaces or the CLI. But the compatibility of DevOps Center allows developers of all types to collaborate using the workflows that they are most comfortable with. So yeah, the work that you saw me do to get here was done using clicks. The workflow for creating this trigger, though, was done using code. And yeah, it was committed to GitHub and committed to that feature branch. And once approved, DevOps Center listed it here in the approved work items list. So finally, we can show you how to promote these. We are going to select these for promotion. And we have a number of promotion options, including the scope of testing that we want to run. And we're going to promote them both to the integration stage. So yeah, this is going to run for a minute. It will do a merge in the version control system. Ultimately, it'll deploy the changes to the integration environment. And once in integration, we'll be able to open up that environment and see how the changes work together. Later, you'll go through the same process to promote along the pipeline, ultimately getting those changes into production. And yeah, that's it. With a few clicks, you can promote your changes from your ALM, and DevOps Center will do the magic for you behind the scenes. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to hand it back to Tara so she can tell you how to learn more.
So yeah, Brenda just showed you how to get started with DevOps Center. A couple of things. We have a great demo booth downstairs on DevOps Center, so highly suggest you all visit that. You can also take a look at the other demos that Emily mentioned, like the CLI, IDE experience, and Sandboxes. In addition, to get started with DevOps Center, highly recommend visiting our DevOps Center landing page. You can scan the QR code here to get started. Also, we have a community group, so you can join us and provide all your feedback. And finally, you can view our product roadmap online and provide any suggestions that you have. Again, thank you all for being with us here today. Hope you learned a little bit about ALM and DevOps to get you started on your Salesforce journey.